Live.
Hello, GenRight Nation. Thanks for joining us today for another episode of Tech Talk. Today is Wednesday, February 15th, and we have got a pretty cool show, I think, for you. We put together a slideshow to talk about a recap of KOH. And as usual, if you have any questions or comments, you can just type them in, and the guys will read them back off to me. So feel free to do that. And we are going to be talking all about KOH. So Peter couldn't be here, but Jeff is. And Jeff co-drove with him in the 4,500 class race. Yep. So we're going to go through a bunch of stuff and talk about that. This is something that we do every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on both Facebook and YouTube. So turn on your notifications and join us. And then type in your comments if you have any questions. Let's see. We're going to do a recap from where we left off last Wednesday. So after we talked to you guys on Wednesday, we had a bunch of stuff happen through the races and that are getting us here today. So we're going to go through all that stuff. All right. So Jamie, anybody notable on there that you want to mention?
I see Peter Doolan's on here.
Nice.
Shane's on here. Shane
Maybe
Wolford.
Peter can answer some questions remotely.
That's on YouTube.
Yeah, nice.
It's hard for me to do both at the same time.
No problem, no problem. All right, well, thanks everybody for joining us. What we're going to do is we'll start the slideshow and have Jeff talk about the 4,500. Jordan's running a little bit late, so he'll join us as soon as he can. And if nothing else, I'll step in for Jordan and tell you the story because I was there the whole time. So, all right, let's go over to the slideshow, and then I'll just have Jeff talk about each thing that we've got going. All right.
I haven't seen these, so.
Okay, so first off, Jordan, if you're not familiar with KOH, races in the 4,400 class, which is unlimited. And Peter and Jeff raced in the 4,500 class, which is a modified Jeep class. And Peter was also a rookie, so that was new for this year as well.
Yeah, we both were.
Yeah.
I've the only co-driving experience I had was with you during the
PCI
300
yeah.
where we didn't pre-run at all. We got the course map while we're in line to start. So
that was pretty crazy.
It was,
this probably felt very relaxed compared to that.
It actually did, to be honest, because at that race, I couldn't tell you where anything was, any G-outs, any watersheds.
Everything's bouncing.
Just like, stay online. And,
yeah, we made the best.
This was quite a bit different. It was a little nerve-wracking, though, because we didn't get a pre-run as much as we wanted to. So, luckily, I got about 2 days pre-run.
I'll tell you, all things considered, you guys did pretty darn good.
I don't know how we could have done better.
Yeah.
He drove a perfect race. So.
That was cool.
Yeah.
All right, back to the slideshow. So if you've never been out to the Hammers, it is absolute chaos. You know, just think about, normally this would be pitch black, and this picture shows you there's like 100,000 people out there, and most of them are out driving around. This is from the top of Chocolate Thunder. It's quite exciting at night, and yeah.
This was really the first year you've ventured out.
That I've done it, yes.
Most nights you went to Chocolate.
It was pretty fun.
I think that was the Alan Alvarez influence right there for you.
Right. Yeah, it was fun getting out to see what everybody was doing.
Yep.
So, let's see. Okay, so early on, Jordan and I got out and pre-ran, and basically I just followed him. His car being a lot more capable than Terremoto is. This is at the top of King's Vito, this particular picture. And we were trying different lines. So the line that Jordan is on is actually the line that he took during the race. And turned out that was indeed the fast line. So it was good that he practiced it before. So next shot. This is also Jordan. But I wanted to give people an idea of the size of the rocks. Mm-hmm. Like they're pretty good size out there. So now, and then this was me at the top of King's Vito, just powering my way out of there. Again, just to give you some perspective of what this looked like. It was the real deal.
Definitely the real deal. I was very surprised to hear that you ran King's Vito when you came back to camp. And even after I looked at Terremoto, it looks a heck of a lot better than it did last time you ran.
Yes.
When you said it was a one-time deal.
One-time deal, yeah.
But
so,
no.
I know, it was
Everybody
fun.
was pretty impressed with Terremoto going right up it.
Yeah, I was too. I just pointed it up there and was like, come on, baby. All right. Okay, so basically, you guys race this year as a KOH rookie, and maybe you could talk about that a little bit, what that is.
Well, unfortunately, I was working on the car every rookie meeting, so I don't have a great idea. Peter would be better suited to answer, but it was a really cool program. Everybody in the program was really excited about it, thought they did a good job with it, and it was a program they launched to get new drivers at KOH.
Right.
Because, I mean, the same drivers every year doesn't help the sport grow.
That's right.
So they did a good job just helping through, like, what you don't even think about when you're coming to KOH.
Yeah.
And there's a ton that goes into it.
Yeah, I think in a nutshell, because I think a lot of people signed up for it thinking it was its own class. It's actually not.
No.
It's you're just a rookie within the class that you're signed up for.
Correct.
And it's a bunch more information and help for those new guys, right? So that's why he was going to those separate meetings, is because it was additional information.
Yeah, and the meetings were cool. I mean, Jason Shearer came and talked to him about what to do, what not to do, gave them a lot of insight, so that was cool. I know
Yeah, that is cool.
Peter said that was cool, and a few of the other rookies said that was super helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Okay, any questions on this?
Yeah, a couple of questions. VB Tom says, Are you guys getting settled back into the daily grind?
Kind of.
I'm not.
I can use this coming weekend to get
Reset.
100 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm definitely not.
No doubt. And then we had one more on YouTube or Facebook. Esther Parrott Newcomb, did you run the same tire pressure for the entire race?
Oh, that's a good question.
That's a good question. Yeah, we did. I think Jordan did too. I mean, when you're racing, you really don't want to take the time to go into pits to, especially mess with that kind of stuff.
Right, or even change 4 tires, right? Then lug nuts don't get tightened, and
Although I did notice in 44, a couple guys ran the desert lap on 40s, then went to the pit and changed to 42s for the rocks.
Oh, that's interesting. I did not see that.
You would have to really think that was very beneficial to take the time doing that.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, there was tons of hard rock trails, so.
For sure. Yeah.
Who's to say it was? Who's to say it wasn't beneficial?
Right.
So.
Right.
Yep.
Did you guys like Dave's rant at the drivers' meeting?
I mean, I thought it was thoroughly entertaining. And I got views on the whole thing, but it was entertaining.
I think, Dave's done it for so many years, it just feels like he's answering the same question over and over again. But, he's got to take into account it's not everybody's 10th time there. And there are newer people, and there are things that aren't obvious about the course or how it's done.
Well,
so
I tell you after that, no rookie was going to raise their hand and ask a question.
Right. So,
But
yeah. What else you got, James?
Jeff, for 2024, 4400 class?
44. I want to race the 4500 class. I think that's a really cool car, really cool class because it still resembles a Jeep. The whole suspension on Peter's Jeep that we raced was off the shelf or double triangulated 4-link kit.
Legend.
Our Legend 3-link kit. So to me, that's super cool because there's a lot of similarities in a Jeep that can be transferred in that class. I mean, heck, we have to race with a full steering box.
Right, and I want to remind everybody that actually started life as a 99 TJ.
Yeah.
Like this was not one of those, we're going to cheat cars. It was by the rules.
Oh, 100%. And even walking through lines, the tech and contingency, there's, you can tell that it's straight by the rules, full steering box, full tie rod, drag bar, drag link. But no, that's what I really like about that class. So eventually I would like to race the 4500 class. 4400 class, that's a
whole nother deal.
That's a whole nother, that's a whole nother expense bracket.
Yeah, several
Yeah.
clicks up.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. So basically, in addition to pre-running for you guys, it started out with qualifying, right? So here's the start line or staging for qualifying.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have a lot of pictures here.
So that was super cool because I'm with Peter, rookie driver. I've never qualified before. I was more nervous for qualifying than the actual race.
Because if you make a mistake, it really sets you back.
Oh, for sure. And everybody's watching you.
Yeah.
On the actual race, there's
lots
over
of cars.
100 cars out there that helicopters going to and stuff. And the guy right in front of us tossed it. So I'm like, me and Peter were talking. I'm like, calm down. Don't let that get to you. It wasn't even our line we were trying to take, but he didn't let it faze him at all. And luckily, that guy in the picture came up to Peter and just started to kind of small talk to him.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
Peter, he's taking his mind off
Distracting him.
things, and
Yeah.
Peter's still. I mean, he stayed calm the whole race. Not much rattled him, so that was awesome.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so then after that, you guys had contingency, which is where all the cars roll through Hammertown. Which is pretty cool. You know, you guys get to talk to this is really the spot where the fans get to be the closest to the cars and see them, and talk to the driver and co-driver if they want to.
Yeah, and I think that little ice cream stand there, I think GenRight kept them in business.
I
all
know,
week.
I spent $100 there.
But Tech Contingency was cool. It took a little longer than I thought it might.
Yeah.
I think we got there at 9:30. It opened at 10, and we didn't leave till like 2:30.
Yeah.
So we were
Yours
planning
was
on
moving
rolling
slow.
straight through and kind of
Getting
tinkering with the
back.
car a little bit.
And then you ended up doing that late. Yeah.
but it was cool.
Got it
Awesome
done. Oh,
experience.
Jim's got a question.
Facebook. Anthony Chavalier.
Okay.
What breakdowns did you see out there on your own rigs?
Well, my rig didn't make it, so none.
No, but
On Peter's car, early in the week we just had some freshly rebuilt blues that we had to work out. We had a belt flying off that turned out to be the tensioner pulley was a little tweaked, and we spaced out the alternator a little bit, or the idler pulley a little bit, and then all was good. We didn't have a problem after that.
yeah,
so
that took care of it.
just
for
took us a little while to figure all those things
sure.
out.
Yeah, we put our best guys on it, and they
Yeah.
were all over it. So
Yeah,
that was
so
cool.
that was cool. But it did take away from day and a half of pre-running.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because you guys would just get a couple miles, and then it would
you know,
toss it.
and then come back.
Yeah.
So, but luckily after that we got it worked out, and Peter, me, Jordan Gunnar, they took their mode, and we went and ran lap 1, and I was able to make course notes. So it all worked out.
It was good.
Yeah.
That was good.
And then I have some questions about Jordan, but do you want to continue on
Yeah,
with
yeah, we'll flip through
yeah.
here. So this
Yeah,
next
go through
picture
that.
is, this is actually, that's the finish, isn't it?
That's post race.
Yeah, so we're a little out of order. I was thinking that was race morning.
Yeah, but nobody needed to know that.
Okay. But there's the driver and co-driver standing
That's
next
the
to
morning of the start.
Morning of the start. There we go.
Okay, so here's you guys out on course. Do you recognize where this might be?
Did Jamie take this?
Yeah. Well, no, we were together, but I think it was. I think that was coming into Thor's Hammer.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, because we had that car right behind us coming
Okay,
into Thor's.
so that makes sense.
Thor's was the second spot we got in a huge traffic jam.
Yeah,
First one was Outer Limits.
I think the
Too
next
big,
picture
exactly.
is the traffic jam, yeah.
That is the traffic
Yeah.
jam. So there was a broken car up there, clogging the only line. Then another guy tried to make a line to the far left. He got all watered up. So as soon as I was out trying to winch people out of the way, helping, and a little light opened up. I'm like, Peter, we're making our own line here.
Yeah.
So he did great. We made our own line. He got around about 3 people there. And then we were able to get out of Thor's Hammer. So yeah, that was actually cool. That was the first trail where we had to make our own line and figure out how we were going to get by
Yeah, I
all
think
these people dead in the
this
water.
next picture is the
Yeah.
new line you're making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's a cool
It was
shot.
a little bit of a carry momentum line, but I mean, just like everything.
I know when Jordan and I went up there to pre-run that, man, it was loose and
It was loose. That's why it was all momentum, every
Yeah,
line you decide
yeah,
to make on that
for
trail. It's a
sure.
fun trail, though.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah, for
I had never been on it, so I can't wait to go run it in my Jeep.
yeah, that'll be fun. All right, what do we got next?
Me either, Jeff.
Oh, so here's you guys pitted at Maine.
We made 3 pits, and basically we didn't have any problems. We just wanted to make sure the car looked good.
Yeah.
Our first race, our main goal was to finish. So to us, taking the extra time, even if we didn't need gas, to get eyes on the car was definitely worthwhile to us.
Yeah.
I know coming into pit for I think at Maine we took we hit something fairly hard just on the tire, so I wanted to get eyes on the tire.
Make sure it was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to show everybody this picture because you don't realize how many people are involved in a pit stop. We've got somebody holding the car, talking to the driver and co-driver by radio.
Mm-hmm.
We've got guys under the front of the car, the middle of the car, the back of the car. There's somebody gassing up. There's a fire extinguisher guy. There's timing people. There's people taking pictures.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
But that's as close as they can get to the car while it's
being gassed. That's right.
So everybody in the pit did awesome.
Yeah.
I actually felt like every time we came in the pit that I was going to have more time until we left.
Yep.
But it was super quick.
It goes quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you got, Jim?
Jeff, what were your top speeds through the desert in Peter's car?
On the way back from pit 2, the way back on the second lap was that lake bed that's basically
Totally
a
flat.
highway.
Yeah.
A huge one, yeah.
We got up to like 85, and then I felt the vibration. Wasn't big, but we had made it. It just wasn't worth it. So we backed down to about 76 or so, and then we had enough gap there to where it felt smooth. That was the fastest.
And nobody was like right on your tail or anything.
No, at that point we
Or
never saw him. Oh, actually, I think Bailey Cole was coming at some point, but he caught us a little bit later. But that was the fastest. But in lap 1, the actual desert lap, I think our top speed was probably like 60 or so. I mean, it was so dusty. It was keep
dust
moving, but
sucks.
stay alive.
yeah,
So
yeah, for sure.
Jeff, thoughts on cutting brakes?
I mean, we didn't have them. I don't know if they'd be necessary for King of the Hammers,
Yeah,
especially with an Atlas.
I remember in my early days talking to Shannon Campbell, and he's like, "Dude, you don't have time for that stuff," like.
No, it's not. Even the rock trails, it's not slow rock crawling. Especially in 37 DOT aired up to 20 psi, like you're carrying momentum through everything.
Yeah.
At a pace that's not going to damage the car, but also a pace that you stay moving. So I couldn't imagine. We didn't even mess with front digs or anything. So I don't know that cutting brakes ever would have crossed my mind when building a Hammers car. What about you?
I saw some dudes using cutting brakes.
Did ya?
Like coming through Masters.
Yeah, I mean, if they're like an old school rock crawler guy, some of those still had it. You'd have to have a disengageable locker, you know. So, and a lot of people, we don't, but a lot of people out there run spools. So,
Yeah.
other questions, James?
Comments, Albert Contreras. It was awesome to see Jordan's 4500 car.
Yeah, I want to know what happened to Albert.
Um,
I saw he DNF'd, so I didn't know.
oh, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Maybe he can reply.
Off-topic stuff.
Albert is our 4600, the stock class racer. So,
What chassis is best? A used car or build one up from scratch? Also, what chassis, bomber, UFO, other?
oh man,
That's a loaded question.
that's a lot.
Very loaded.
Yeah. So first off, my experience is unless you're buying a car that somebody did really good, top 3, you're probably getting a car loaded with a bunch of issues. And so unless you're prepared to start over, like you're getting it cheap enough that you're ready to start over, then
And another point is, if it's raced the last few King of the Hammers, that car is beat to
beat.
crap.
Yeah.
So-
So unless they're like freshening it to new every time, then Yeah, it's pretty hammered. If you're just going for the experience, you know, and you want to do it, and you don't even care how you do, like, then yeah, you could buy any car and get out there. But you know, to get to the finish line, I mean, any of these classes, your vehicle needs to be top shelf, 100%.
Yeah.
Because you're beating it down pretty hard. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, YouTube question. Crawler Kingdom. What's the answer to beating the Broncos in the 4600 class in your opinion? Is there a vehicle that can do it?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
Yeah, that is. Those things are far from stock, and they've got the best drivers. You know.
Yeah, and
so.
I don't know what Jeep you could build that would fall within the rule books that
Yeah,
would.
I mean, I have a lot of feelings on this because I don't necessarily think that somebody like me or a Lauren Healy or any of these guys should even be driving in that class. That's not even fair, you know, considering that that's supposed to be the beginner, you know, entry level class. So
It's supposed to get people into Ultra 4 excited about it.
yeah, and even if I were to race something like that, even if I came in first, I would just be like, well, I don't count. Let the next guy have it. Like, you know, what you want to brag that you beat a bunch of guys that don't even know what they're doing? You know, that's not cool.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough question to answer.
What do you got, Jim?
What's the wheelbase, axle width, and size on the... He said, okay, 4400 car, Jordan's car.
I think wheelbase is 120,
It's
and
wide.
it's 92 and a half wide, so it's a big boy. It gives it incredible stability, and it doesn't seem to hurt him from going through the trails at all. So, yeah. And by the way, neither Jordan, Jeff, or myself got flats. And Terremoto ran 600 miles of pre-running and race chasing and everything. So
And even the rigs I saw out there, because I felt like in EMC class, half of everywhere I worked was Mickey Thompson. I didn't see
anybody have a flat.
anybody have flat
yeah.
on there.
And there were people getting flats, just not on Mickey
for
Thompson's.
sure.
Yeah.
We said the big.
I mean, we were warning you guys. Hey, everybody seems to be coming in with a flat.
yeah,
You know.
there was some guy trying to get up the hill before you come down Turkey Claw. He was down to the rim in his rear driver, and he still wouldn't get off the main line.
Oh
my
man,
gosh,
that's rough.
But
That's rough.
and there was a few times where I'm like, oh man, there's no way this tire's gonna hold. But it held, and looked at him after the race. It looked like new.
That's right. Cool. All right. So this picture was main pit, and this is right off the short course, right? So this is the main base, and then actually this is I guess we're going to show the other pits in the next round of pictures here. This is actually you guys coming in at the finish line, still during the day. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, James got more questions.
Bob Haffey
Hey, Bob.
is asking Jeff, I know you've done a lot of wheeling out at the Hammers. Now that you've run your first race, what are one or two big things that you learned that you'll apply to the next race?
Good question.
That's a good question. I have to think about it. I think the biggest thing that I would do differently is have more time with the car before getting to Hammers. In the car with me and Peter as a team, and just wheeling the car in general. Because we got it, he got here about a month before King of the Hammers. We were able to take it out twice. One of the times we had an issue and we didn't get much pre-running in. So I think that'd be the biggest thing. Just be familiar with your team and the car a little better before we get out here. Like clearly we were able to make up for that out there, but it would have been nice to not have to do that.
I know. Yeah, I know it made you guys really feel pressed.
It did. I was the first weekend there. I was pretty stressed out. I won't lie.
Yeah, for sure.
Like-
Especially when the belt was flying off, and you you have a few of those things that set you off pretty quick.
And I'm also was working on the car, super hands-on with the car, as well as Peter was. So It's not like I could just go hop in somebody else to go get eyes on the pre-run course.
Yeah, and I was
So,
nervous for you, so
Yeah.
I was trying to lend you as much advice as I could to
Yeah,
get
well, I
you
was
prepped.
taking it all in.
So, we do have Jordan finally joining us. Everybody say
Jordan.
hi. Say hi, Jordan.
Hello, everyone.
All right, so we're just going through the slides, and we just got to them getting to the finish line. Of course, I love this shot. Peter's face is completely filthy. He must have had his visor open quite a bit while you guys were driving
We
around.
both did. I think coming out of Thor's hammer, because advice from Tony Pellegrino, which is great when you're on the rock trails, open your visor, get some air.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of thought it was still a little more rocky once we got up, but it was like, it was pretty soft. So Peter, I'm like left, or crest left, and Peter makes a hard left.
And just
All the
Rusu.
silt straight in my mask. And I wear contacts, so I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to touch my eyes. I don't know what I'm going to do.
You got to get quick on lowering that.
Yeah, let's just let it go. So I kind of shook it off, and it worked out all right.
That's a good story. I like that. Here's Peter fist bumping me as he comes up toward the stage.
And at this point, we still had no idea where we were in the
Right,
field.
that's right. We knew where you were,
But I told our radio guys, Jimmy, who does a great job on the comms for us, but I told him to keep track, but unless I ask, I don't want to know, because we're just going to run our race, keep it
Right.
smooth, keep it fast, keep it clean.
Yeah.
And Peter was driving great, and
they kept asking me, should we tell them where they are? And I said, well, I would want to know, but I don't know that they want to know. So,
yeah, I mean, Peter was driving great. I felt no reason to tell him.
yeah,
And
yeah. The goal was to get to the finish, so
Yeah,
that's
so-
cool. Other questions, James?
Somebody asked. Rick Turner asked, "Could I get a hat like Jeff's online?"
We've got like these style online and the camo one for sure.
you know,
So
Yeah, I think he
But
meant
like Jeff's, no.
blue is mine.
yeah. So if you're not familiar with GenRight, the color is like the hierarchy of the organization. So
It's like the
It's a
yellow.
special hat.
It's
like
unique to
my
every
yellow hat.
person.
Yeah, there's only one blue one. So
Sean C. Joyce or something. Fantastic job by both driving teams and crews. Old GenRight. I was only disappointed by not being able to see Jordan cross the finish line after all the hard work and
Yeah,
determination.
they cut off the live feed.
yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
did they?
Yeah.
that sucks.
that's a
That sucks.
And then there was something on here. Keep going.
Okay, so back to the slides. This is pretty much the entire team over there to greet
Yeah,
Peter and
that
Jeff
was-
as they
that
came
was the
in.
coolest
It
part.
is cool.
That's
yeah, when you
super
see
cool
everybody and
feeling.
everybody is just super happy. So that's pretty cool.
Well, it's so cool because it's such a group effort.
It is.
More than driver
It
and
is.
co-driver.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everybody feels the right to celebrate a little
Yeah,
bit because
for sure.
every single person in that picture paid a hand in getting them
That's
across
right.
the finish
That's
line.
right. So that was pretty cool. Then you guys are up on the stage, so they do an interview. You get to mention sponsors, and of course they're broadcasting this live, so that's pretty cool. And all of us get to walk up there with you. So again, part of the fun.
Yep.
So that was cool. And then there's because this is Jordan's original 4500 car. This is a great picture of these two guys. And look at how happy
is
Peter is.
that is a good
Yeah, he washed his face after got his burgundy hat on. For those of you keeping track of hat colors. So yeah, pretty cool.
I mean, it is the car you learned how to race on, right?
I know, literally. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yep, Jordan worked on that car all by himself.
Yep.
So that was pretty cool. Let's see what else we got. Okay, so now we're on to, Jamie, if there's any other questions for Jeff. I mean, they can still ask Jeff questions, but we're going to move on to the 4400 race.
Yeah, I don't see anything else for Jeff.
You see anything?
Any new products planned post hammers?
No.
I don't know about new products, but I can definitely vouch that double triangulated rear works awesome.
Yeah, it really protects the drive shaft, the rear drive shaft. And when you go to hit a ledge, it's protected way underneath the car so you're not hitting the control arm.
Yeah.
I remember when Peter first got that car, that was the first thing he said.
There's a few things like that where I would have been dragging my rear lower control arms, and he
Yeah.
was just able to walk right
Up
up.
it, yeah. And by the way, for those of you that haven't followed along with GenRight as much, that car that they were driving has our Legend suspension, our original Legend suspension. That suspension was then reverse engineered into the Tracer. And funny story is, Peter happens to be the first one to get a Tracer from us. So kind of cool how it all circled back, and Peter got your old car and the first Tracer, and you know.
To be honest, the Tracer kind of Tracer exists from that race car, but also almost because of Peter.
Right. That's right.
And he's like,
Yes.
"What would you build on
That's
an
right.
LJ?"
Yeah. So we went crazy on it. So it was kind of cool where we lowered the drive line like this 4500 car.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Okay. So Jordan, let's talk about your race. Started out with you qualifying, which is pretty cool. Here's a shot of you staged over there, at Chocolate Thunder. You had a great run. At this point, when I shot this picture of the big screen, you had qualified 8th with 241, which is pretty cool. You can see even the guy above you
run.
is a 241. So, it was tight.
It was tight. I mean, even like at the end of the day, after power hour, after everyone went, I think the difference between like 15th and 30th was only like 4 seconds,
Yeah,
or 5 seconds.
it's tight.
It was really tight.
It's tight.
That actually kind of surprised me on that qualifying course. I kind of thought there'd be more variation in times,
Yeah.
because one reverse, one anything is a good 8 to 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit longer course than usual, time wise, but I think it leveled the playing field a good bit more for the solid axle guys.
Yeah.
Like if you go back and look at the final
Yeah.
qualifying list, there was a lot of solid axle guys
In
kind
there.
of toward the front.
Yeah.
Versus
Yeah.
all I know is that qualifying course was very intimidating to us King of the Hammer rookies in EMC.
Oh, dude, that was an intimidating course even for us. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a gnarly.
And we always run Chocolate Thunder, right?
Yeah.
But it's changed.
It's so
And they did the
different.
shootout the night before. I mean, it was just a disaster.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the lines were pretty blown out.
Yeah.
So,
It was hard on cars for sure.
yeah. Let's see what else we got. Okay, here's a shot of us doing one of our meetings with the crew inside our pit garage tent. Pretty cool. And it's one of those things where we gather up each evening and kind of go over the assignments for the day and everything, and who's going to stay late and work on the car and what we're going to do tomorrow and stuff. I just kind of wanted to show everybody a behind the scenes look here.
That's like a sixth of the.
And then here's the driver's meeting.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like how many people pack into that tent.
Everybody was up front at the beginning, then they backed up.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I mean, there's probably 1,000 people
In
crammed
there.
into that tent.
Yeah.
So was this
Yeah.
the first year that they did all classes together in every driver's meeting?
I think so.
No, I think they did it last year too, but I think last year was the first year.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do like one, which honestly I like better, just because it like there's one meeting and then it gives you the rest of the week. At least for us, like our races
Yeah.
are toward the end of the week, so we have one meeting, we get the information we need, and then we just get back on the cars.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Then I wanted to show everybody, here's Jordan in the semi, personally prepping each gear on his portals. He's deburring them to make sure that they roll smooth. So after he qualified, they tear the car down, and now they're prepping it for race day. So this is a very important, he was in there, he didn't want to be bothered.
Literally all day.
All day, yeah. So I don't know if you saw me taking that picture, but
I didn't.
it's a cool picture of you in there.
Yeah.
You can't tell in the picture, but there were sparks flying and stuff. It was, and those are the gears up on the bench behind Jordan sitting there. So.
Yeah, I think those are finished gears on the bench, and then
Yeah.
the ones I'm working on.
Yep. So everybody was working on that. And then the car's put back together, and Jordan paid a visit to some of the sponsors and also went through contingency on his day. So again, that's a time when the crowd, the spectators get to come over, talk to Jordan, look at the car, get signed, posters, all kinds of stuff. So it's a pretty cool day. And that actually takes a couple hours.
I'll give
to
a
go
shout
through.
out to Vision X. After we pre-ran and we got back and when it was dark, we were out running our front lights like crazy.
Yeah.
So we came over, they're like, this is like version 1 10 years ago. We had to do something. So they wasted no time to getting big bright ambers on the front of our car, which were awesome.
They were really easy to identify you guys too.
That's
so,
what's cool about them is
Yeah.
they're really easy to spot the difference between us and other cars.
and other cars. Yeah.
And they did wonders. So
Yeah.
big shout out and thanks to the Vision X.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
they-
what we were doing in this picture actually too. is
Upgrading.
They were. I used my front lights as a Nerf bar at some point, so they
Got a little damaged.
they got a little. They were all still working, but they just wanted them to look a little better. All
Nicer.
the front rings were
Yeah.
smashed and whatnot.
Well, good thing they did because you ended up coming in at night. So.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so here's race morning. This is always a lot of pomp and circumstance as the cars are staged. I didn't get to go over and see Jordan on this morning because I was already on my way to pit 1. But everybody who can goes over there and hangs out with the car and Jordan and Gunnar, that's his co-driver, Gunnar, who's been his co-driver all this time. And these guys are a great team, and they really got to test their strength on this one.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Gunnar got a CrossFit section.
Yes, he
Oh
did.
my God.
Poor guy. I think he even twisted an ankle too.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize you guys got a little prairie there. That's cool.
Yeah,
The guy
got a
came
little
around for
prairie,
you.
Yeah.
That's nice. That never hurts. And then it looks like you're in the car now. So when do you guys usually do that? That's like they tell you get your
they
cars.
kind of tell you. I mean, you could just kind of look around and you start seeing people getting in.
Yeah.
It was probably 7:45.
Yeah, you're up toward the front. So
7:40.
yeah, it was one of those things where the you
The
gotta.
race will leave without you.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
The race does not wait for you to get in your car.
And you don't want to mess around too much because then
No,
you
no,
forget
no.
to do your Hans
Yeah,
or
no, for
something
sure,
else,
for sure.
right?
But you also
So-
don't want to spend more time in the
In
car,
the car.
than you absolutely have to.
Yeah, you're going to be in
You
there a
already
long
know it's
time
going to be a long
anyways.
day.
Yeah.
So.
I was surprised you weren't wearing a big heavy jacket that morning.
Honestly, I was right when I left the trailer, but as soon as I was outside and walking around a little bit, I realized it was a slightly warmer morning.
Than you expected.
Yeah, like I was even wearing like glove liners and stuff too, but I decided to take all that off just because I figured I would bear the cold for an hour and then it would be hot. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got. Okay. So here's the start. So interesting guy that you're paired up with there. I didn't
Yeah.
realize he did that well in qualifying.
Yeah. He's qualified well at the last few ultra
Really?
races. Yeah.
So you can see the drastic difference between Jordan's new generation car and that older generation car. So
Lots of variation between cars out there.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah. And then there you are off the start. Again, you start on the short course and then go out to the desert. And once you leave the short course, the next desert section is quite rough.
It's very rough.
Yeah.
And
So
it was guaranteed to be dusty.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I know that section well. That's a lot of where I go shock tune because it's the worst part. So. All right. Okay, so here we are out at pit 1. This is, I'm going to give you a couple different views here. So the guys bring a couple of trucks. You can see the big radio antennas so they can hear the car. Paul's got his fire suit and apron on, so he's ready to fuel the car. Now on this day, what we cross our fingers for is that Jordan is going to drive by. And he did. So he drove by us and headed straight out to the rocks. I'm not even sure where this picture is,
That
but
looks like coming back into Turkey Club.
it's a great picture
That looks
coming
like
through there.
Right at the end of lap 1.
And James, you said you had a question for Jordan.
I
one
mean,
point-
there's some random stuff.
Here's one
Like-
for you, Jordan.
Random.
Jordan was rooting hard for you. Would you recap the biggest challenges, issues
Yeah,
you
that-
were faced with?
That was the off
Big
topic
cojones
one.
to finish a tough day.
Heck yeah. Yeah. Thank you. God, dude, I don't even know where to start with. Like, that day was just so nuts. I mean, I don't know all what you have in the slideshow.
I got more. Yeah.
We'll revisit that after
Okay.
this.
Okay.
this
So
is
let's.
over.
Here's another shot. I don't recognize this rock section, but
That's Masters.
yeah. So that's a good area as well.
Yeah.
I saw a video of you going through there. It looked pretty good. And you can see the ground clearance on that car is just amazing. So most everybody would wish they had that much.
Yeah.
Here's pit 2. Jordan spent a lot of time here at pit 2.
Almost as much as me.
Yeah. Right.
That is pretty much where all the action was. Pit
Yeah.
1 was boring.
It
Pit
really
2,
is. I mean, it's like that every year, though.
everybody was
It's
out there.
like that every
Yeah.
year. 'Cause
Yeah, with this year,
for-
you could hit it 3 times.
Yeah. But for those of you that don't know, that have never seen a map, Pit 2 is literally the center of all the rock trails.
Yeah.
So, you'll have 3 chances in that, 12 or 13 trail loop on lap 2 to
Get in there.
hit 2.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's really where all the major carnage is.
Yep. So, and then, of course, Jordan came in. I think that's Jordan himself underneath there tightening the drop box.
That is.
He said he radioed in that you guys had a clunk and in the front end, and that turned out to be what it was, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so it was actually kind of by chance that I found that because, so this was after the training cooler let go. Gunnar
Yes.
hiked off for parts. I stayed back with the car to start disassembling the training cooler setup on the car. And I was watching him on my phone hiking, so I was like trying to figure out how much time I had. So I actually started, right before that is when we were having locker issues, so I started taking stuff on the front end apart, seeing if I could diagnose the locker issue. And that's when I found that the drop box was coming loose off the diff, was when I was down in the front end. So it was definitely by chance that I found that. I'm glad I did, because if the training cooler didn't take us out of the race, that probably would have. Because we tightened that 3 more times.
Let's tell everybody what a drop box is. That's not a normal thing on anybody's
that's
vehicle.
not a normal term. The easiest way to put it is it's basically a transfer case that's mounted to the back side of the front diff. And on IFS cars, the hardest part to pack on a front engine IFS car, the hardest thing is figuring out how to get that front drive shaft from the transfer case to the front diff. So most cars, you have to raise the whole drivetrain a lot, which raises the center of gravity. Obviously, we're trying to keep it literally on the bottom of the car as low as possible. So
Yeah.
how we get around that is we mount a drop box basically onto the pinion. There's some gears inside, so it offsets the drive shaft to the driver's side,
Yeah.
probably about a foot.
Yeah. And then it also reverses the rotation so
And
that it works
reverses
with the
rotation,
portals.
so it works with the portals, and so you're driving on the correct side of the rear pinion. So
It's
there's a
quite
lot of benefits
complicated.
to it, but it is again, it's
It's
more
another
stuff.
piece,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's more stuff, but
And your front drive shaft is already crazy, even though you have a dry sump motor. I mean, it's tight. It's tight. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yep.
All right, so having that come loose was not good.
it was not ideal. But I'm glad I found it.
Yes. Okay, next picture. So now you can see Jordan working on the front, and all the guys are working on the back because they're trying to change out the transmission cooler. So
We had a
we
few little-
literally had like 6
We
guys
had
on
a
that
few
thing.
little teams doing different things
Yeah,
on the car. at
yeah.
that
There was
point.
somebody over at the toolbox handing out tools, like whatever they yelled for. So it was a well-coordinated effort. It was unfortunate it took so long to get everything. Not only Gunnar had to hike a long way, then to get it fixed and get
Yeah.
you guys back out on the course.
Yeah, so Gunnar hiked from car to pit, back from pit, back to car.
Yeah, and I think it was like 4 miles each way over the
I think it
top of
was
Fisher
more.
Mountain.
Yeah,
it was
no,
a
it's-
long
it
way.
It ain't like walking down the highway for miles. It's
Basically from here.
up and down vertical drops.
Yeah, it was a long way.
So yeah, we had to patch the car on trail, right? Because there's no outside assistance.
Yeah,
No
and
one-
it was just a patch to get you
It
to
was
the pit.
literally just a patch.
Yeah, yeah.
So then we got to the pit and made the real repair.
Yeah, yeah. So we got some more pictures here. Okay, so there's the culprit.
Yeah.
Right, one of the cores let go, or a bunch of them did, and just soaked that. The worst part was that it dripped down on your radiator.
Oh god, it filled.
And
it.
just-
Oh god.
so then the motor wanted to run hot, and we were trying to clean that
I
thing
know,
out, but it was
I
a
know, I know.
disaster.
It was terrible.
Okay, so here's another shot of all the guys. We got guys in the car, on top of the car. We got them everywhere trying to, do what we could. The wind's howling. It was just not a great environment there. There's Cameron on the inside.
Yep.
So we were trying to disconnect electrical and other things to make the swap happen and clean up the mess. Meantime, a crew comes over and does an interview with you.
It was pretty fun.
I don't know if that made the live somewhere.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. But the film crew comes over and starts talking to Jordan. So he was getting some airtime one way or another. And then the sun goes down, right? Because it's taken so long. And now we're into King's Veto.
Good old King's Veto.
Good old King's Veto. It was a bit of a cluster when you got there.
Yeah, I think there was probably 3 or 4 cars in
At
it when we
least.
pulled in.
At least, yeah. And Cody's was like hanging off the side, broken.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that wasn't ideal for sure. Yep, you got a question, James?
Question from Ari. I don't know which Ari, but if people hike over a canyon to pull a line for another driver, what stops someone from having a second car enter who can run parts in the event of a breakdown?
You absolutely can.
That's right. Only a racer can help another racer, and that's why the bigger teams like Gomez or Campbell's, have multiple cars for that reason.
I think Gomez's had 5 cars this year.
Yeah.
And one was literally a parts car.
Yeah,
Like they had a parts car driving.
And by the way, the year that I raced Terremoto, I was supposed to just be the backup for Jordan to bring him parts or be the extra set of hands, and ended up racing the whole race. So, but that's a great question. All right, back to the photos. Okay, so now it is really dark.
If you can't tell.
If you can't tell, we had some good pit lights there, so that was helpful. Again, the crew's all out there doing their thing. Here's the guys in the back of the truck handing out tools and all that good stuff. There's a big radio set up there too, so we can talk to the car and to Maine. There's the guys. Okay, so this is that look on their face you see right there. That's what I call blowing bubbles, right? They're just doing what they can to get out of that pit. Like, just get us back on the road. We know we can hit the finish line.
Yeah.
So, they're pretty worked by then. Like what happened to Jeff. They've had plenty of dirt in their face, and they're tired. So they're just working their way through the day. So I usually walk over and ask them how they're doing right about this time. We got them out. We did have to remount the light bar into a lower position, but it still worked.
Yeah.
I can't believe it made it to the finish line.
Well, this had to be on lap 3.
This was on lap 3 now. Yeah. So I know there's kind of a blank there.
Yeah, for a little bit.
Because I was running around getting alternators and stuff, And sometimes I was doing video, so I didn't really have pictures to show on everything. So, but we've got tons of cool stuff that literally we didn't have enough time in this show to show everybody everything.
Put it all together. Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. Okay, so now this looks like you're at the finish.
Yeah.
This is an interview being done, so that's good. You guys made it in before the cutoff, thankfully. Jordan, why don't you talk about how there was that conversation where it was like, you have an hour or 53 minutes, or I remember there was some radio conversation. It's like, you need to get in the car and go right now.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Jimmy was asking their split times.
Yeah, so lap 3, right? We about 3/4 of the way lap 3, right? We did sledge. All this for those of you guys that don't know, lap 3 is the same as lap 2 plus 5 of the even gnarlier trails.
Crazy
so it's
rock
all
trails.
those same 12, 13 plus 5 more.
Yeah.
So right when you think you're tired, you're just getting freaking beat on even harder. So we hit sledge, upper sledge, up legit, which is a lap 3 trail. And as soon as we got to the very top of legit, I had an alarm on the dash come on. And we were just winching super hard in sledge. So the alternators, batteries are drained, everything's tired. I had an alarm come on that said, engine overheat, whatever. So I'm like, okay, trying to figure out why. Make it, check the obvious first without
Right.
stopping. Make sure the fans are running. Make sure, just go down the list of problem solving. Realized all the fans were on, so I knew we had a more serious issue. So I didn't have a choice but to shut the car down. I had to turn it off or it would have blown up. So shut the car down. Right now we have no lights. It's dark. We're in the middle of a pitch black canyon. There's no one around us, no people, no other cars.
This is when you're in legit.
This was in legit
Yeah.
at probably 9 o'clock at night. So we jumped out of the car, trying to figure out why. Fans were indeed both running. We ended up figuring out, again, back to the whole ATF thing. All the ATF earlier in the day dumped into the radiator, and then another 60 miles of race
Dust.
and dust
Just caked it.
caked the front of the radiator, so now it's like glue in the radiator, right? So it wasn't cooling whatsoever. So we found a wire brush. So Gunnar was wire brushing his side of the radiator, and I was microfibering my side of the radiator, just try and
Get something.
get the, because you couldn't see the fins, you couldn't see the
It was just
tubes.
that.
It was literally just a wall of dirt.
Oh, man.
Like, no wonder this thing's overheating. So we're literally beating on the radiator, like trying to knock all this dirt out of it. But then the problem was the batteries were so drained we couldn't restart the car.
Oh, man.
So we had to unplug all the lights, turn the radios off, turn the GPSs off, like literally unplug everything electrical that wasn't the fuel pump or the starter. And then even then it wouldn't start. So we realized we had a jump box in the car, hooked that up, let it sit for probably 5 minutes to charge a little bit. Finally got the car started. I'm like, all right, Gunnar, like everything that's off of the car right now, throw it on the side of the trail. We're plugging the headlights in. We're plugging the radiator fans in. We're freaking
And
leaving.
going.
I don't care what overheats. We're getting a pit.
Yeah, because
So,
you just had to go up over the top of Fisher and back down.
So it's actually
You had to go down legit,
It's
though,
actually
still.
kind of funny. Well, no, we were already at the very top.
Oh, no, you had to go down Z-Walk.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I mean, we were not far at all. So we just throttled down the mountain, finished that section of course we had to do. We were only probably 3 or 4 miles out on course. Got there. We pulled Arnold's Jeep around the back of the car while we were in the pit. He was charging the batteries while we were doing the other stuff,
Yeah.
plugging lights back in and
Yeah.
stuff. The guys jumped on the back of the car, were spraying the radiator out. Like, it was crazy. And in the middle of all that, I knew we were getting close to the cutoff, so I radioed back to Jimmy at base, and I said, Jimmy, like, on lap 2, from pit 2, the very last time, back to the start finish, how long did it take us? And he said 59 minutes. Or 55 minutes. And at that point, we had an hour and 10 minutes until the cutoff. So I was like, dude, we gotta go, right? Because now we have way less. It was keep in mind, it was daylight when we did that.
Yeah,
So
now
we
you
have to
can't
go
see
down
in the pitch
Aftershock,
black.
Turkey Claw, and then that same amount of desert in pitch black, right? So again, we plugged like a couple more lights in because keep in mind we're still having alternator issues,
Right.
So we can't be running too much.
And we didn't have time to change the alternator.
And we didn't have time to change the alternator, so I
'Cause I brought one,
So on
yeah.
top of all of that, I had to do everything in my power to not let that car die.
Die.
Because now the jump box is dead. So if that car's dead, we are out of the race. Like if that car even dies once, we're done. So yeah, no, it was nuts.
Man. Yeah, that's the thrash.
You made some dang good time, though.
We did. We got from pit 2 back to start finish
Yeah.
faster than
Yeah.
lap 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
That was cool. In the dark.
In the dark,
Yeah.
with like no lights.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, it was pretty nuts.
Yeah. So here's Jordan on the stage, getting interviewed and getting a chance to talk to whoever's still standing there at the Jumbotron and mention the sponsors and stuff. So that's pretty cool. And then here's Jordan with one of our crew members out of the car enjoying himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. Okay, so now let's go back to the question that Jeff had. Maybe now it'll be easier to answer that. Or maybe you already have answered it.
I think you probably summed it up.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of challenges. I mean, as you guys have heard, there was definitely a lot of challenges. But honestly, nothing was as stressful as that story I just told. Like between the car having to shut it down at legit and getting everything in the middle of that was by far the most stressful, because now we're not able to drive at our pace, right? It's dark. You're even more tired than you were earlier.
Right.
You're still dealing with cars broken in the trail. Like, you don't know what's going to happen,
Yeah, you come around the next
corner. And now you have to do it on a time crunch.
Right.
And now you can't let the car die. And now you don't have lights. And now you don't have a GPS. Like it was just that last hour of the race was so stressful.
I bet.
You drove quick. I think we're going to put you on a time crunch everywhere.
Oh, my God. Just everything combined was...
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a blast. Like Cole and I had a blast in the car. Oh, you didn't mention that.
What's that?
That Gunnar got out.
Yeah, so Gunnar was exhausted.
And Gunnar was done.
Yeah.
He was done.
I don't think he had any skin left on his feet.
Oh my God.
Well, and I asked him, I go, do you want to ride in Terremoto with me? He's like, no way, man. I want something with tops and doors,
No, he was done. I think that was a good call to put Cole in. No, crazy.
Yeah. Jamie, any other questions on your end?
Not that I can see. I saw one question on somewhere about what was Jordan's top speed in the desert.
Do you remember seeing?
I don't
know.
remember an exact number, but if I had to take a educated guess, it was probably 105.
Somewhere there.
Actually, I think like race mile 2, that car I took off with, I think I passed him on the first lake bed at probably almost 110.
That way you're
to
not
get out of
eating
the dust.
Yeah.
So as soon
Yeah,
as
this
I
year they did space the cars a minute apart.
did. It was a minute. And it was really
so
nice.
that was better.
It was really
Yeah.
nice. But yeah, that was honestly probably our top speed on that desert lap is where we're gonna set a top speed.
Yeah.
That was probably the fastest opportunity we had in the race. But again, like all I was trying to do on lap 1 was really just pace the dust in front of us. Honestly, after we passed a couple cars, we were in a good chunk of clean air. So I was really just trying to maintain pace with those guys because I knew if I could maintain pace with those guys,
Then you're fine.
no one would really catch us.
That's right.
So,
That's right. Yeah, because you were running in the top 10 for a long time.
There's no reason to push the car harder just
Right.
to go sit in dust.
Right.
I'd rather drive in clean
And
air.
then you
pace
make a
them.
mistake, right?
Exactly.
Driving in the
Well,
dust.
I mean, unintentional.
It's
of
easy to
course,
hit
but
something.
It's easy to hit stuff that you can't
Yeah.
see in the dust. So, was really just doing what we could to stay in clean
Yeah.
air.
Brian Kelso asked, the live feed went out just after Jordan made it to the turn to Turkey Claw. How close were you to the 10 o'clock cutoff?
I think we finished at 9:55.
So
Right.
It was
there.
close.
right there.
I mean, if they got us on the live feed in Turkey Claw, it was probably no more than 5 minutes after that.
Yeah, because that's only about 5 minutes out. Yeah. So.
That's all I got.
All right. Well, we're right at the 6 o'clock hour, so why don't we just thank everybody for joining us? And it was a lot going on. I'm glad you guys were able to get it straight from these guys on how it all went. And we will see you on next Wednesday with a whole new episode of Tech Talk. So thanks again, everybody. We'll see you next week.